Hi, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona, and hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. Saturday, March 9th, NBA and college basketball slate. Ton of games going on, college and NBA today, so let's get into everything here and get you rolling. We are a little bit late today, so if this is your first time checking out the show, there will be a link in the comments section, docs.google.spreadsheet. This is our Google Sheet, our betting ledger. So if there's a day you don't have enough time to check out the show, or we're a little bit behind like today, you can feel free to click on that link and you'll be able to get all of our bets as we're putting those all in first before we do record the show here. So we'll get started. First game's up on the board for us, Arkansas, Alabama. We like this game. A bunch of scoring in this game is kind of what we expected. In this one, we are a little bit late getting this on the air. First half's been a little bit slower pace. We did like the over 83.5 first half and over 174.5 for the game. One more time, Arkansas, Bama, 83.5 first half total over and 174.5 for the game. Next game up for us is going to be, excuse me, do apologize, St. John's, Georgetown. St. John's big favorite here at home against Georgetown. Georgetown, DePaul, the two worst teams in the Big East. But St. John's minus 11.5 first half, minus 17.5 for the game. One more time, St. John's minus 11.5 first half, minus 17.5 for the game. Next game up, Memphis at FAU. FAU, one of the better teams in the conference, but somehow only a 6.5-point favorite. Memphis has not played that well all season long. They were hot maybe for, I guess, November, December, start of January, and then have started just to take an absolute nosedive. FAU's played tough all season long. They've had a couple blips here and there, but South Florida's kind of handled them a little bit. But FAU minus 3.5 first half and minus 6.5 for the game. One more time, FAU minus 3.5 first half and minus 6.5 for the game. Next game up, Davidson, St. Joe's. This is our favorite play of the day. We love St. Joseph here. Davidson has a hard time winning on the road, let alone being a 3.5-point dog on the road to St. Joe's. So this line did move, still like it at the 5.5. So St. Joe's minus 2.5 first half, minus 3.5 for the game. St. Joe minus 2.5 first half, minus 3.5 for the game. Next game up, as we get into it here, there's a lot of good games today. I mean, there's Oklahoma, Texas is something we looked at. West Virginia, Cincinnati, something we looked at as well. But we did go at noon out here in Phoenix, and 2 o'clock Eastern game. Texas A&M going to Ole Miss. Texas A&M has played well on the road, well at home, but not on the road. Ole Miss has been a lot better team at home. Chris Bard got those guys playing pretty well. We were right with Ole Miss in this short line today. Ole Miss minus 0.5 first half, minus 1.5 for the game. One more time, Ole Miss minus 0.5 first half, minus 1.5 for the game. Same time frame, noon, Phoenix, 2 o'clock Eastern. Iowa State traveling to Manhattan, Kansas to play Kansas State. Kansas State, a 4.5-point home dog, total around 135.5. Iowa State's been phenomenal all year long. I know they're looking at a 2 seed probably. Not probably deserving of the 1, but, one of the best 2 seeds out there. This team has a chance. They play great defense. Question is, can they score enough tournament time? There's going to be those games where you need to score. That might be the only nick in their armor, so to speak. But we do like the Cyclones today. We'll take Iowa State. We'll lay the points. Minus 2 first half, minus 4.5 for the game. One more time, Iowa State over Kansas State, minus 2 first half, minus 4.5 for the game. Then we'll get to the next games here. Creighton at Villanova. Creighton's been a struggle on the road all season long. They do re-sign Doug McDermott, their coach, for extension. Great job. He's a great coach. He didn't really want to go anywhere, and they're not going to get anybody better than him. That's for damn sure. So we do like Nova, though, at home today. Creighton has struggled on the road, and Nova's still getting points here. So Nova plus 0.5 first half, plus 1.5 for the game. Nova plus a half first half, plus 1.5 for the game. Richmond at George Mason was another one we're kind of looking at around that same time frame. I'm not sure. I mean, the line looks a little fishy with Richmond being the best team in the AAC and George Mason, laying points, but some we'll go back and look at. Next game we are on, though, South Florida traveling to Tulsa. South Florida, best team in the conference, 5.5-point favorite only at Tulsa. This line's a little fishy as well. Got a little smell on it, so to speak. We do like South Florida in this particular situation here. They're the best team in this conference, and there's a reason why. South Florida minus 2.5 first half, minus 5.5 for the game. South Florida minus 2.5 first half, and minus 5.5 for the game. Next game up for us are going to be those 2 o'clock Phoenix games. I'm sorry, we do have a game before that. It's a Missouri Valley Conference game, tournament game. Northern Iowa gets a big win last night. Indiana State kind of cruises last night. Northern Iowa is getting 7.5 in this tournament game. No, Indiana State's been fun, like a great story to watch here, but they should not be a 7.5-point favorite on a neutral floor. There's some value here. So we will take Northern Iowa plus 3.5 first half, plus 7.5 for the game. One more time, Northern Iowa plus 3.5 first half, and plus 7.5 for the game. And then we'll get into those 2 o'clock games here. Big one of the day, Kansas-Houston. Houston, number one team in the country, and for a reason. The only issue with Houston is sometimes doesn't have enough points. That's the only thing that I think between them and UConn, if you were to pick a national champion between those two teams, UConn you give a slight edge just because they can put more points up. Best offensive rebounding team in the country in Houston, best defensive team in the country as well. Now, Kansas did beat Houston at Lawrence. They also shot 65% in that game. Absolutely ridiculous. I think Houston wants to come out and prove a point here. This line has moved. Not quite sure why you'd want to give KU points. They were 3-6 on the road. They've been absolutely horrible. And those 3 wins, they didn't cover those either. So we're going to take Houston today. We did get it at 8.5, so even better at 7.5 for you. Houston minus 4.5 first half, minus 8.5 for the game. One more time, Houston over KU, minus 4.5 first half, minus 8.5 for the game. Kentucky, Tennessee is one we looked at 3 different ways, and I just can't. I think that line's about right. 7-8-point win for Tennessee. Total around 166. 85-78, somewhere around there. Kind of see that game falling in the line there. So, unfortunately, not anything there. Florida, Vanderbilt. Real tempted to take Florida here. Going to Vanderbilt, only laying 9.5. But we're staying away from that one currently as well. UCF, TCU. TCU should win this game going away, but they've kind of hit a couple blips on the radar lately on that one there. Marquette, Xavier, interesting line there at 3.5. Baylor, Texas Tech was another one of those lines we looked at, 4 o'clock time frame. Haven't played anything there. One thing we do have at that same time frame, 4 o'clock Phoenix, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Bradley, Drake, another Missouri Valley Conference tournament game. I think Drake's going to win this whole tournament. I'll be really honest with you. I think Northern Iowa's got a shot at an upset today against the number one team in the conference in Indiana State. Drake at number 2, Bradley at 3. Bradley comes off a good win yesterday. Drake also a big win yesterday. I just think Drake's got too much for Bradley. They have in the regular season. I expect the same here in the tournament. So we did take Drake -2, but also Drake -1 in the first half and -2 for the game. One more time, Drake -1 in the first half and then also -2 for the game. Then we get into some of the later games. That other one we're looking at is Georgia-Auburn. Georgia is pitiful on the road, and Auburn's laying 15.5. It's a big number, but should be interesting. One game we're going to watch. We don't have anything on here, but if this line keeps moving, we might. Duke at home, laying 5.5 against North Carolina, total around 150.5. I think the line's too big. I expect this to be a close game on that one. Then we'll get into the later games here. that we do have some action on. Let's see. Another interesting title game. The first bid for the NCAA tournament can be solved tonight. Little Rock, the number one team in this conference, is getting 4.5 against Morehead State. So something to look at there. UConn Providence. UConn's always interesting to bet on. North Texas Rice, another game we kind of looked at there as well. But game we're on, 6:30 out here in Phoenix, so 8:30 Eastern. New Mexico, who's been an absolute nosedive, going to Utah State. This line opened yesterday at 1.5. It's currently sitting about 3.5. Utah State's a much better team here, and New Mexico has not played well. So one of the more popular games bet on today, and there's a reason why. Utah State, though, minus 1.5 first half, minus 1.5 for the game. Utah State minus 1.5 first half, and minus 1.5 for the game in that one. And then we'll get on to a little bit later game here if we get to it. UNLV, Nevada. So Nevada probably been the most consistent team out in the Mountain West against UNLV, has had some surprise wins, mainly at home on that one. But Nevada's consistency is where we lay our money all the time here. So Nevada minus 3.5 first half and minus 6.5 for the game. Nevada minus 3.5 first half and minus 6.5 for the game. Let's get over to the NBA slate. We have got 7 games going on tonight, some injuries as well. So in this slate, so let's get over to it here. Bulls going to the Clippers. Bulls have been on a long-ass road trip here. The line's 6.5, 7. Clippers favored. It is an early afternoon game. Clippers, it made everybody a ton of money that was on them in December and January. February and March have been a different story for the Clippers. Paul George can't seem to score. James Harden, doing what he does, which is shoot a lot of threes and turn the ball over a lot. Kawhi Leonard's been the consistent piece as always. Kawhi's I'm going to go out and get my 25 to 30 and make a couple threes, play some good defense, and let's get some rebounds, and let's call it a night, and let's get a win. The Bulls, on the other hand, I will say this. The season's been extremely inconsistent, but the one thing that I think positives come out is that they've realized Kobe White can play. Maybe it's time for the Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball show to those guys that can never play. Time for them to be gone. But we do like the Clippers in this situation here against the Bulls. This road trip just seems to never end for the Bulls. But we even got it at 7, and now it's down to 6.5 on some sites. So Clippers minus 2 first quarter, minus 4 first half, minus 7 for the game. If you watch the show a lot, we go Paul George under as it consistently cashes. So Paul George under 22.5 points and under 31.5 par. Kawhi Leonard, though, 25-plus points. James Harden, who we're on all the time for turnovers, over 2.5 turnovers. It is juicy today, it was minus 160, but well worth the play. And then we love some Kobe White today. 20-plus points, 3-plus threes, 4-plus threes, and 5-plus threes for Kobe White on that one. So let's see here. So let's take a look at that one more time. Clippers minus 2 first quarter, minus 4 first half, minus 7 for the game. Paul George under 22.5 points and under 31.5 par, points, assists, rebounds combined. Kawhi Leonard 25-plus points. James Harden over 2.5 turnovers. Kobe White 20-plus points, 3-plus threes, 4-plus threes, and 5-plus threes. Next game up, the Mavs. Going to the Pistons. Mavs 7.5 point favorite going to Detroit against, I will say, the total around 235. So the Mavs have been a couple of games at home. I don't know what they do in the first quarter and first half to fall behind and then have to come back. Now they did end up covering in the last game, but they lost first quarter and first half. Luka's been on an absolute tear, 35-point triple-doubles. It's been unreal. But in the Pistons, Cade Cunningham, since the second half started, or since the All-Star break, has been fantastic. He had one blip on the screen, but other than that, he's been 25-plus points and 4-plus threes a night. So we like the Mavs here, but I think the Pistons this isn't going to be a cakewalk 25-point win either on this one. So we do like the Mavs minus 2.5 first quarter, minus 4 first half, minus 7.5 for the game. And you got to go a bunch of Luka and Cade Cunningham stuff here. So let's get started. Luka, 35 plus points. That number is getting up there, folks. I know he's putting up ridiculous stats, but 35 for a point total, and it's not like big plus money, is definitely getting up there. Then we'll also take Luka over 3.5 threes. Luka 5 plus threes. Luka triple-double. Was plus 180 on DraftKings, had the best number earlier. Luka over 54.5 par. Ausar Thompson for the Pistons over 6.5 rebounds, so 7 rebounds and 8 rebounds. And Cade Cunningham over 22.5 points, 25 plus points, 30 plus points as well for Cade. 2 plus threes, 3 plus threes, and 4 plus threes for Cade. Then we also like Cade Cunningham over 35.5 par. So one more time in this Mavs and Pistons matchup, we got the Mavs minus 2.5 first quarter, minus 4 first half, minus 7.5 for the game. Luka 35 plus points, 4 plus threes, and 5 plus threes. Triple-double, over 54.5 par. All for Luka there. Ausar Thompson, 7 plus rebounds, 8 plus rebounds. And then we like Cade Cunningham, over 22.5 points, 25 plus points, 30 plus points. Also Cunningham, 2 plus threes, 3 plus threes, and 4 plus threes, and over 35.5 par for Cunningham. Next game up, Nets Hornets. If you thought the Wizards Hornets was bad, here's version number 2. Hornets on a back-to-back, but going home. 6-point favorite, though, for the Nets going into Charlotte. 206.5 total. Dennis Schroeder showed up, and it's like the second coming of Cam Thomas. So Mikal Bridges has decided just to fall flat on his face, except for the 2 games against Atlanta. I don't know how you like any part of this game. We like a few player props, not even many of those. But we'll take Brandon Miller for 20 plus points, 3 plus threes for Miller, and Miles Bridges over 1.5 turnovers. And he's been at 2.5 for some time, so dipping down to the 1.5 mark here. But Brandon Miller, 20 plus points, 3 plus threes, and then how about Miles Bridges for the Hornets over 1.5 turnovers. Next game up, more interesting games of the day. Celtics coming off that loss to the Nuggets, then Jason Tatum goes very small in the fourth quarter one more time. Coming off they've lost 2 in a row, going to the Suns. Suns at home, 5.5 point home dog, 226.5 total. So no Devin Booker supposedly again tonight. Should have a full allotment of players for the Celtics. I'll be really honest here. The Suns have been one of the more inconsistent teams. They're the worst fourth quarter team in the league, and the Celtics ain't far behind. The Celtics have been the best first half team in the league, but it's been a little bit of a struggle figuring out how they can't seem to put the complete game together. They can put 3 quarters together, and that seems to be both of these teams. So the question is which 3 quarters are going to be excellent, right? And then the one just dud. We do like the Celtics here today. Don't think they're going to lose 3 in a row. And the Suns, I think that without having the third big piece of Booker, I think that's finally going to start hurting a little bit. But we will take the Celtics today, minus 1.5 first quarter, minus 3 first half, minus 5.5 for the game. Porzingis, who we've loved all season long, over 21.5 points, 3 plus threes, over 30.5 par, and 2 plus blocks. We also like Jrue Holiday for 2 plus threes. And then Bradley Beal for 2 plus threes, 20 plus points, and over 27.5 par. So one more time in this Celtics and Suns matchup, let's get the Celtics minus 1.5 first quarter, minus 3 first half, minus 5.5 for the game. Porzingis 22 plus points, over 30.5 par, 3 plus threes, and 2 plus blocks. Jrue Holiday 2 plus threes. We also like Bradley Beal 20 plus points, 2 plus threes, and over 27.5 par on that one there. Next game up, Spurs Warriors. No Wemby, probably no Stephen Curry. Still 11.5 point line here, so a big number. I mean, the Spurs, though, I mean, even with Wemby, their record's worse than last year. Wemby's been the reason to watch the Spurs, and this is his second game out. Looks like he's not going to be available until mid-next week with that ankle issue. It's a shame. It gives you one less game to watch on the NBA slate with some of these piss-poor matchups. But we do like the Warriors tonight here. Kuminga's been on fire as of late. Klay Thompson probably get moved to the starting lineup tonight. If Steph's out, expect him to have a bigger role. And Draymond's been playing well. Draymond's been rebounding and an assist man all over the place and been hitting his one token three per game. So we'll take the Warriors here. We did take the Warriors minus 3.5 first quarter, -6 first half, and -11 for the game. Jonathan Kuminga, like I mentioned, been on fire. His point total, though, has went way up. It was 16.5 a couple games ago. Now we're at 21.5. We'll take the over there. We also like Kuminga over 31.5 par. Klay Thompson over 18.5 points and 4+ threes. Draymond Green for 1+ 3. Also Draymond 8+ rebounds, 10+ rebounds, and over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. So one more time in this Warriors and Spurs matchup. Warriors minus 3.5 first quarter, -6 first half, -11 for the game. Jonathan Kuminga over 21.5 points and over 31.5 par. Klay Thompson over 18.5 points and 4+ threes. Draymond Green 1+ 3, over 8+ rebounds, 10+ rebounds, and then over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. Next game up, Nuggets at the Jazz. Line's 12.5, 13, depending on what book you're getting it at. It has been, let me put it this, they come off a big win, so I don't know if this is going to be kind of a letdown spot here after beating the Celtics. I still think they got enough firepower against the Jazz. The Jazz are one of the worst road teams out there. Even if the Nuggets have their B game tonight, that should be enough to cover this game at that number. But we will take the Nuggets -4 first quarter, -7.5 first half, -12.5 for the game. We do like Colin Sexton, though, quite a bit tonight. So Colin Sexton, 20+ points, 2+ threes, 3+ threes, over 4.5 assists, so 5+ assists, and over 28.5 par. Jokic triple-double was plus 175 on FanDuel. He might not have a big point night tonight, but expect his rebounds and assists to be there. Jokic for 12+ rebounds. And Jamal Murray for 3+ threes was plus money on FanDuel. So just need him to stay outside the line for a little bit and to get those 3+ threes. So one more time in this Nuggets and Jazz matchup. Nuggets -4 first quarter, -7.5 first half, -12.5 for the game. Colin Sexton, 20+ points, 2+ threes, 3+ threes, 5+ assists, over 28.5 par. Keontae George, over 2.5 turnovers. Jamal Murray, 3+ threes. Jokic triple-double, and Jokic 12+ rebounds in this matchup. Last game on the board, Raptors at the Trailblazers. Raptors a 3-point favorite going to Portland, 227 total. I mean, there's the Trailblazers, I don't know who the hell is going to play, and the book isn't either, as there's not any props out for any of the Portland players. I mean, the Raptors, Scotty Barnes still out, Porter's still out. I mean, they're hurt all over the place as well. The one guy that's been there, and he's had a good season since being traded, is Emmanuel Quickley. Quickley's played really well. Definitely dishing the ball and scoring. Both sides of the ball, or both sides of the offense there, so he's done a good job with that. We don't like the side or the total here, but we do like Quickley player props for the most part. In this one, we might come back and play something additional in this game, so do make sure you check out the Google Sheets at the end of the show. But what we've got so far, Quickley, 20+ points, 3+ threes, 4+ threes, and over 34.5 par. So one more time, Emmanuel Quickley, 20+ points, 3+ threes, 4+ threes, and over 34.5 par. So I know I mentioned this a couple times before in the show. At the end of every episode that we do, in the comment section, you will see a link to our Google Sheet. It's docs.google.spreadsheet, bunch of other stuff behind it. You just click onto that. That'll get you into our Google Sheets to view those. There's multiple sports, so make sure you're in the right tab. There's a couple seasons of football, a couple seasons of baseball, this year's basketball. Then we also have like golf, Formula One, in a separate tab there as well. So if you want the basketball bets for today, just click into basketball 23-24 and you'll be able to scroll into those and look through those. But this is a ledger of how we've done all season long. Basketball has been fantastic for us, 7,000 units up. Baseball is another one that we've been dominating as well. Last season was 7,500 units up. Football, it's been really good as well, but 1,100 units a couple seasons ago, 3,000 units this last season up. So we're laying out a blueprint for you to make some money here. We're a volume better. I understand. I don't expect everybody to bet 100 plus bets on a daily basis, but match them up with the ones that you like as well. It should give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. And as always, if you could subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, so when we drop an episode of bets, you get those first. It makes life really simple to find us. Once you hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on for YouTube. You'll get a notification to your phone or device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped a new episode of bets. Let you match them up with your bets. And like I mentioned before, give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. I do appreciate everybody's support as always, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode.